Hello everyone, my name is Chaos in the Sky, and welcome back to the Battle Union's Week 1 Power Rankings. I have with me, as always, the wonderful fun guy, Shroom Raver. How's it going, Shroom?
Oh, I see what you did there. I'm doing very well indeed. Thank you very much. Yes, hello, Battle Union fans. Welcome to, as Chaos said, the Power Rankings following Week 1. Now, this is following on directly from last week's pre-draft rankings. So, obviously, with them having happened just based on the teams, there's probably going to be some pretty radical changes going on
Some
this
very,
week.
very radical changes going on.
Yeah, there are. We had some big score lines, some big wins and losses in maybe what you might consider unexpected places. Certainly dependent on last time's rankings. But we'll get onto that as we go. So, what do you say we just jump straight in to these rankings, Chaos?
Yep, hit me up with number 16. Let's do it.
Yes, so number 16, that is going to be Dokes and the Dendemil Dedenne taking the 3-0 loss to Kyle. Now, he was thrown off early by a Zard set that we will come on to later when we talk about Kyle.
Whoa, what?
What?
Why? Never mind. The way you said that, please continue.
Ah, well, that's phrasing, I guess. But yeah, he was a bit thrown off. And really, early on, there's not really all that much to report on. He was just kind of playing to his best around quite an odd team. Using Alolan Muck pretty well, he got some fortunate poison touches, and actually, for the first half of the match, even though he was caused problems, he did come out of that 6-4 up. But then he started, I think, to struggle with these unexpected sets that Kyle was bringing. He was never able to get going with Ditto. He was, up against a team that had a lot of potential setup, really none of which came against him. So Ditto was never really given a chance. And by the end, he basically had lost really any ability to deal with what I'm basically now dubbing Gimmick Zard. He was making as good a plays as he could with Ditto to, become the Licky Licky, to get heals off from Toxics that were being thrown around, but really he was fighting a losing battle at that point. It was a massive uphill struggle, and he couldn't get it done in the end, unfortunately.
That's how it goes when you're up against the absolute trash that Kyle brought. With
Yeah, I mean,
please break it down to me, the exact Charizard set, or at least as much as you know.
well, I know all of it, but I mean, I was thinking, should we wait until we talk about Kyle to go into the details of his set?
I guess we can, but that's like so far away, and I'm a really impatient man. But if you want to, I guess we can.
We shall. All you need to know is it was fairly genius. And
Don't give him that kind of credit.
it's in no way, shape, or form what you'd expect from a Megazord X.
It was in no way, shape, or form okay in my books, but whatever.
I mean, it did the work. It did the work.
Yeah,
taking
I can't...
3 KOs against Oaks.
Yeah, I think we probably should mention, I believe 2 of those KOs were Theorymond, because Dokes, I believe this is the match where Dokes forfeited.
Yes, I believe that's true.
So, Charizard, I think he forfeited when he was down to 2 Mons. I don't remember what those 2 Mons are, but we did, I say we as if we had anything to do with it. We don't, they just throw graphics at us and log in information and say, hey, get some videos up. We don't have any say in anything, really. But
pretty much.
we do occasionally lobby against Hitlormion to get different necessities needed for us. But I believe the last 2 kills were allotted to Megazord X after some discussion, so.
They were, yes, that's true.
Yeah, if you want to move on to 15, another frequent disappointment in my life. I can't say words. I'm so angry at some of the people on this list. Go on to 15.
Sitting at 15, we have Eric and AS Rowlett, who took a loss in what was, by numbers, the closest game of the week. The very close 1-0 loss to Sheerforce. We saw a very, very early weather versus weather going on here. You've got that Politoed Kingdra that Eric brought up against an Alolan Ninetales, which, we'll talk about Alolan Ninetales in a bit, but it didn't really have the best of debuts. Now, Eric. Eric will be one of the first, I say one of the first, he'll probably be the second after Chaos, to say that there's always a Bidoof moment for Eric. And I think he's got it out of the way early this season. And he knows that this is a mistake he made, needs to pay attention to those weather turns. He didn't this week, and it did cost him. He ran out of weather a bit earlier than he thought he would, I believe. And I think, as far as Eric goes, just to sort of work out when to let his weather setter go down. He had Politoed for automatic weather and Uxie with the rain dance. Now he let Politoed go down instead of sacking Uxie with the Alolan Ninetales on his opponent's side still alive. So he kind of knowingly lost the weather war there. Whether or not he was expecting a certain move, he did risk the Politoed and it didn't pay off. So he lost his weather fairly early. He does make a good response, his opponents like Sheerforce like, oh, just go into a load of Ninetales on the Kingdra and get the hail up, and then he's just bopped with a flash cannon instantly, which is quite nice to see. Eric was making good plays with Mega Sizz versus Beware, roosting up to stall it out of its power from superpower, and then knowing when the switch is coming, going for the U-turn, allowing him to get that initiative on Victini and take out a big threat. He was playing a bit of Swords Dance mind games, trying to roost-all Garchomp at the end, and it didn't work out for him, and in the end it comes down to a Nidoking versus that Beware, and Eric said in his team builder he wanted Fire Blast, but he traded it out for Toxic Spikes, which he never got up in the battle, and no Fire Blast comes back to bite him as he can't take out the Beware and takes the 1-0 loss.
Oh, Eric. You and your Bidoof ways. This is why your other name was better. You know what? I'm listing him as Bristol Bidoofs in this video. Until he can prove that he can leave the name behind, that's what he's going to be.
Yeah, pretty much. He did have that Bidoof moment. But, as we say, he does have those season on season. It happens. But he's got it out of the way early. And hopefully, as far as Eric goes, he can try and get those kinks sorted out early. And now, hopefully, he can sort of really settle into this pseudo-weather team he's got going and try and make it work for him in the coming weeks.
Or he could just, forgo the rain, maybe make some exchanges back to Heliolisk and stuff and be good.
I mean, maybe.
Maybe
he could.
I'm just throwing out some ideas. I mentioned to Eric once that, hey, your team was a lot better with Heliolisk on it. Me and Shroom both agreed. And he's like, oh, yeah, I got rid of that immediately to get whatever it was he got.
Yeah.
But anyways, let's move on to Mr. Up-and-Coming Star, who is dead set to prove us wrong and point out all of our faults in forgetting that Moltres can get defog.
Yes, he did just point this out to us on social media. This is Skyrander and the Scandinavian Stoutlands up 2 from last week, where he was bottom of the pile, taking a 2-0 victory over Alex, who had one of the most threatening teams as far as we were concerned. Now,
Mr. Lele.
Indeed. One of the things I like about Skyrander is the fact that he's so very eager to listen to what people have to say about his teams, and he's eager to then say his reasoning behind that, and then he's very good at proving people wrong. Now, like we said, we weren't sure about Sky's team. Very bulky offense as opposed to this hyper offense that we're used to. Now, Sky did tell me, we had a chat about this, and he said he wasn't comfortable drafting hyper offense with this new meta that's not particularly, sorry, with this new generation that's not particularly fast and is a bit more bulky. So he was trying to go with bulky offense instead to try and, get in safely. And what do you know? It works absolute wonders for him. So fair play, Skyrander, absolutely fair play. We challenge you to prove us wrong, and he's done so here. Lots of good speed creeping on his team. He's built well with this team. There was a bit of I was a bit unsure about the wisdom of running Spadef in Mega Blastoise when he knew that Tapu Lele would 2-hit KO anyway. So I was thinking, just throw it into special attack, get that boost going in special attack instead. He very wisely runs a lot of hazards, Toxic Spikes there. Opponent only has Dragonites to remove and no grounded poisons. He's running some good sets, and yeah. What did we say about Roselia? We said we weren't too confident in Roselia, Chaos? Is that what we said?
I said that Roselia, I'm pretty sure I mentioned it was a waste of time or something along those lines, and also that I think he was he the one, maybe this was a different draft, where I remember someone drafted Roselia in something when they could have just gotten Roserade or something similar instead. But,
I don't think this was this, but
I think it was this one because of the way the tiers are set up. But anyways, I will still contend that Roselia is worthless, and that the only reason it did anything good is because Alex is absolute trash and lost to Skyrander despite having Tapu Lele.
I mean, I would contend that Sky played Roselia very well. I mean, the ballsiest of plays,
I
going for
mean,
Sludge Bomb on a Cobalion, predicting the Lele switch. Roselia walled out a Cobalion. I
if
mean, it
dude,
happened.
if you're bad enough at the game, then anything can work against you. Like he could have brought a Meowth and done well.
Well, maybe, but I mean, it has to be said, Sky was making very good predictions. That was an excellent play on his part. He was messing up a little bit, sacking God of War needlessly. He allowed Alex to get back into the game with Dragonite, but he did rally. And he knows that he should have sent in Blastoise against Dragonite at the end, but he got a bit fortunate there. And the damage had been done by Boswell, just crashing out with 4 kills. Um,
I think it's
we know
disgusting.
exactly we know exactly who is trapped in here with who, he said of Boswell versus Doug Trio, which I approved of.
Oh, that's pretty good.
That was excellent. But yeah, Sky continues to early season prove us wrong in as far as our initial rankings go. And yeah, more power to him. Let's see more of that, Sky.
Oh my goodness. Let's move on to 13 before I have to think any more on Roselia getting 2 kills than I already have.
Yes, let's move on to what number is this? This is number
Kelly.
13.
Kelly at 13.
At number 13 we have Kelly moving down 1 place after taking his loss 2-0 to Paulie Mack and West Coast Wingles. Some interesting team building decisions here. Toxic on Tapu Fini sounds weird, I know, because of Tapu Fini's ability, which Misty Terrain stops the statuses. But Kelly knows that one of the main switches on his opponent's team into Tapu Fini is the Mantine. Mantine is flying type, it's above the terrain, so he can Toxic it. Very nice decision on his part. I really wasn't sure about his Gengar set. He was running a max HP set to tank Sylveon's Hyper Voices.
These are the things you have to do now when ground type moves can hit you. You have to start investing in HP and stuff.
Well, this is true, but he did say, that Gengar does nuke his opponent's team, and it kind of could. And if Sylveon is Specs, it'll have Psyshock, and it could catch him on the switch. If Gengar nukes his team, run it in special attack, Kelly. I don't know. I can see his reasoning behind it. I know why he did what he did.
That doesn't make it right.
I just question it a little bit. But that's fair enough, and it did do a lot of work as he wanted it to in the match, which is fair. And we'll get onto that in a little bit. Expert Belt Mienshao hitting 4 out of 9 Pokemon super effectively. You guys know my opinions on Expert Belt. Hit 75% or more and run it. If not, don't run it. But that's just me. You want extra power on certain things? Fair enough. He gets the beat-up lead Sneasel on Jirachi, which was nice. Jirachi going down. Turn 1. Beautiful. And then we see why he ran max HP in Gengar. Gengar and Tapu Fini was proving to be a weirdly hard core to break. It was just they were putting in work. They genuinely were. And then it all really hinged kind of on one turn. Kelly gets very unfortunate. He has Sneasel in. Sylveon comes in on the switch. He misses the Icicle Crash, and that allows the Wish Pass from Sylveon. And that was almost nail in the coffin time, because without that Wish, Sylveon was down 2-hit KO'd. Things would have been a lot easier to take care of. But as it is, he does get unfortunate there, and then there really was nothing he could do about the end game. Potentially he could have got into Heatran on the Roserade first, but it really wouldn't have made a difference to the end result. The same thing would have played out. So yeah, I really think there wasn't anything Kelly could do about the end game. I think he was a victim of circumstance with the Icicle Crash miss, and he'd been playing very well up to that point. So it was unfortunate, but these things do happen.
That's what you get when you play a game that's like 80% dice rolling.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I genuinely don't think Kelly played a bad game. Whilst I wasn't sure about his Gengar set, there's no doubt that it did work, and it was the work he wanted it to do. He got caught on the switch a little bit in one case, which saw his Gengar go down, or at least he overpredicted. Which again, it happens when he'd been making very good predictions up to that point. He was bound to run out of it at some point. That's just, sod's law, that's going to happen. So yeah, I think Kelly was more just a victim of circumstance in this one. Didn't play a bad game, I don't think.
Yeah, we need to speed up just a tad bit.
We do, yes. We do,
let's
yes.
move on to 12.
Moving on to 12, and we have Cloud. Cloud and the Jersey Weavers, I believe, is Cloud Envy's team?
Yes, I think so.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
it is.
So, yeah, Cloud managing to take a nice 4-0 victory over Jim.
Is it really a
Um,
victory when two of your Mons die to a Lola Persian?
well, Alolan Persian did put in a shift. Can't deny that. Well, so we'll get onto that in just a little bit, because Jim's coming up pretty soon. Now, Cloud. Murkrow. He brought Murkrow. Cloud, you are my favourite for this. Every time I see Murkrow, I am very happy. And it got a kill, which was awesome. I was so happy to see that.
It's a double
I do
whammy.
love me. I do love me a nice little Murkrow. We had some good stuff with offensive Steelix, nice matchup. Expert Belt Zapdos, this time a good idea. Wasn't sure about the rash nature on Greninja because it was only benefiting U-turn, and he'd done exactly the same with Zapdos running U-turn, but he was running a negative attack nature there, so I thought he might have been able to do the same thing here, but fair enough, whatever you want to do. The other moves on Greninja were doing fine. He was gaining some nice early momentum. He makes the manly play, the Volt Switch on the Nidoqueen. The manly play. Well done, sir. And yeah, there's actually not too much to say about Cloud's performance here. He was just making pretty solid plays throughout. And following early momentum and early KOs, Cloud was just able to. He put himself in this position where he could make the safe plays, and just keep on going. He had a bit of a stutter towards the end, where Alolan Persian nearly made the most almighty of comebacks, but thankfully for Cloud, it didn't happen, and he was able to take a fairly useful 4-0 victory.
There you have it.
Yeah, there's really not too much to say on Cloud here.
Quick and concise. While there's not much
Yeah.
to say on Cloud, let's finish saying what we want to say on Cloud by moving on to 11.
Yes, 11 is in fact the one that Cloud did defeat. That is going to be Jim moving down, I think, 3 positions. Is that correct?
I believe so,
Yeah.
something around there.
Cloud went up by 3, Jim went down by 3. Fortunately for the former, unfortunately for the latter. So, Jim, taking that 4-0 loss. The special Alolan Persian was an interesting decision. I wasn't sure about it because the things that T-Bolt was hitting, like, they're not physically defensive mons, they're not bulky. But it ended up working out for him, so fair enough. Alolan Persian did get 2 kills. He brings Sarina off the bench, and he didn't bring it. I wasn't sure about the wisdom of that. You've got a baton passer and a hit and run mon on your team, which are both weak to rocks. In the case of Rabombi and Entei. So I wasn't sure about not bringing his rapid spinner there. I did enjoy, this is one of my quotes of the week. If you bring something like a Murkrow to a team, you've a fucking plan, and plans scare me. Well said.
That's pretty good.
Well said. That was good. Now, he got off to a bad start. Big misclick lets Entei die turn 3, and that really put him on the back foot. He started playing on tilt from then. I think it was too early to start there, but I know how you feel on that one, Jim. We've all been there. It happens. I liked the sort of the poetic justice of Alolan Persian critting the crit machine Murkrow. That was quite fun. And he played badly around the Zapdos, but he knows he played badly around the Zapdos. It was a mistake not to just keep attacking it with Rabombi and the Lati and just in general, but he knows that was a mistake, and hopefully it's one he won't be repeating anytime soon. A nice rearguard effort from Alolan Persian, picking up 2 kills, a little more up with the flinches, and it would have actually been an unexpected sweep, but he didn't get just too few flinches, and Greninja was able to finish up against him.
And there it is.
Yeah, some good stuff. The mistakes he made, he knows what he did wrong, and he's going to work on not doing that again, which is good. It's always good to learn from the things you do wrong early season.
Yeah, better than late season where there's no time left to learn.
Yeah, absolutely. So, moving on, I think we are now at number 10.
Yes,
and
this is the only one who hasn't moved?
One
No,
of
no.
two that haven't
Yeah,
moved.
there are 2 that haven't
One
moved.
of 2
You're
that
right.
haven't moved. And this is the first one. That is at 10, Sheer Force, and the Long Island Golducks. I think it's Long Island Golducks, plural. Yeah. Sheer Force, he came in with, I forget what he did. Yeah, a 1-0 win. A nice, solid 1-0 win over Eric. That's the one, yes. He took the win over Eric. So, lovely speed creeping, I have to say, with Empoleon for Pangoro, and that did come back to help him out, which is very nice to see. Always good to see nice speed creeping. Beware is Ow, I think is what we've pretty much learned from this game. Beware is Ow. 40% to an Uxie. That's
That's too
That's
much.
pretty solid. And that's with a superpower, which is resisted.
What? That's way too much.
Yes,
What is
Banded
usually like
Beware is.
base 130 defenses with like 90 HP or
Mhm.
something?
Yeah, yeah. Its HP is a bit lower, but it's got yeah base like 130 or something defenses. Now it was especially
I
defensive,
know
Uxie, but
I
still.
know the defenses are 130. I don't know what the HP
Mhm.
is, but nothing should be doing that much damage to a Yuxi with a
Yeah,
resisted hit.
yeah. Beware is a monster.
It's
I
75
think.
HP, by the way.
Oh, there we go. That's not too bad. That's not too bad.
Good enough
Yeah,
with those defenses.
absolutely. And Sheer Force, he was able to take advantage of the threat that Beware poses. Every time it came in, it was a problem. And I think he played well around the weather. He took advantage of Eric's rain turn miscount to swords dance with Garchomp on the Politoed switch, and that put him in a really nice position early on. Now he did get unfortunate when his Tangrowth got frozen, but he got a revenge freeze and a much more vital one, it has to be said, on his opponent Eric's Pangoro, and that really turned the tide in his favour quite significantly. Pangoro was looking to be a real threat, but the freeze that does allow Sheerforce to get himself right back into the game in the ascendancy, and you take advantage of those situations where you can. Sheerforce did it very well. Nice, useful 1-0 victory over a veteran of the league.
Yeah, but I mean, like, it's the Bidoof veteran, so.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
And I mean, like, that's honestly the essence of Pokemon: win by freeze. That's how we play the game. So
Absolutely, absolutely.
if that
You take
shows
advantage of the situations.
that shows true skill right there to get hacks against your opponent.
Very much so.
But anyways,
Very much.
we're almost halfway through now. We can move on to number 9, which shows the Lele man.
Yes, number 9 we have Alex and the Birmingham Spritzy. He had Aquajet Dragonite, which is cool.
He got
I like
Buzzwole.
it. He did get very, very Buzzwold. He got 17 different kinds of Buzzwold in this game. Now, the thing that happened here, I think the turning point for Alex against him in this game was just the whole Tapu Lele situation. First off, he has an early chance to capitalize with Tapu Lele versus Roselia, but he goes into Dragonite instead and Dragon Dances too early. Now, admittedly, he didn't take his own bait. You know, it's very easy once you've set up a Dragon Dance to just think, I'm going to stay in here. But he realizes that his opponent's Gardevoir could be Scarfed, and I believe it was. It was a nice speed tie at the +1. So he was like, nope, not doing it, switching out, which is, he's got a good head on his shoulders thinking that. But he loses huge momentum with the big Roselia damage on the Tapu Lele, and he goes down to his own recoil. And I really think the fact that Tapu Lele didn't do any work in this game of any real significance was a big mental blow. I think it was an early mental blow to Alex that he didn't quite recover from. It seemed that Skyrander was in his head. He's forced us up with Dragonite later on. It pays off when he wins a speed tie, which again, we've spoken about how Sky didn't need to take that risk. He needs to start making plays, and he does. You've got Lantern doing well, catching Extra on a switch. He goes for a desperate dice roll for Schoolbirds on Boswell, which unfortunately they didn't work. But I think, since the whole situation with Lele, Alex never really had the chance to get himself back into the game with any real significance. There was a good effort from Dragonite taking 3 KOs, but, by then the damage was pretty much done.
Well, there you have it. Proof that Tapu Lele is not broken and can be allowed in every league ever, as Shroom dies in the background.
Yeah, sorry, I'm still mildly dying.
You've been
So if I
mildly
cough,
dying for like a week and a half.
oh, longer than that. Longer than that.
To be
My
fair,
immune.
to be fair, aren't we all mildly dying for like the eternity of our lives?
Yeah, as we spin through space on this rock we call home.
I'm glad that we could get really deep for a minute there as we move on to number 8.
Oh yeah, deep, meaningful conversations as we move on indeed to number 8, top half of the table now. Well, not the table, but our rankings, and we have Bob, King Bob, and Munchlaxter United taking another big win, another 4-0 victory. We had a few of them this week.
No 5-0 or 6-0s though.
No, none of those. So 4-0 was the biggest one, and this was one of them, taking the 4-0 against Jack. Now, Bob is a man. Non-stab Latios, because he is a man. We've seen him build some nice sets here, good contingency, Rock Slide on Mega Absol. That bopped the Megazord Y so early on. He was throwing out there lots of double switches, which seems, I think, to throw his opponent off. So good play on his part. Now the big one, Bub, dual screens Meganium.
The
Yes.
realest of men.
And the thing is, it worked like a charm. It allowed him to tank hits from Zygarde Doggo form. Um, Absolutely tank hits. And yeah, really good team support from Meganium, weirdly enough.
I don't want to talk about
And,
this team anymore. You keep saying Meganium too much.
well, we'll move on to something else. Now, this is where sort of Bub shows a little bit of nice experience here. He knows his stuff. He's got hidden power fire on the Latios specifically for that Mega Sizz, and sorry, the regular Sizz, but he specifically then doesn't stay in, knowing that it could and did have the Ockerberry and would have revenged him. And Latios was pretty useful as a sort of more of a sort of symbol of threat than anything else. He then gets lovely predictions with Miltank, Fire Punch on Cresselia's switch into Sizz, popping that Ockerberry, and Miltank comes out of it with 2 KOs. So yeah, a well-played game from Bub with a nice little dual screens Meganium meme in there, just to mention it one more time for Chaos's benefit, because he does love it.
Oh my goodness! Move on to number 7 already. We got freaking Kyle, who's probably going to end up like 2nd place in the league because Leo is unstoppable.
I mean, yeah, probably. But yes, so moving on from one set that Chaos loves to another set that Chaos loves.
I'm gonna go get a Capri Sun. I'll be back when you're done.
Are you actually going?
No, that'd take way too long. I gotta go downstairs to get a Capri Sun.
Right. But Kyle, really nice team build as we would expect from him. Very good focus on speed creeping. Dokes' speed tiers go from 130 straight down to 80. So Kyle knew he was able to take advantage of that, and he did. His Stealth Rocker is able to destroy his opponent's only form of removal, which is always nice. He has Reflect type Starmie, which is also always nice. And then he has the best Zard X set of all time. His Zard X set, I don't even want to go into the EVs because I believe they were just all over the flipping place. It is a toxic.
Better make sure you censor yourself for the TBU.
Yeah, a little bit. Toxic Roost Fire Spin Zard X. Its other move is Hidden Power Water to 2-hit KO Mamoswine.
I hate everything.
And it got 3 kills.
I hate everything even more. It was allotted 2 of those 3 kills.
It would have got them.
Don't remind me.
This was brilliant. I enjoyed this a lot.
Days like this that made me sick to admit that I play Pokemon at the age of 21.
Well, I'm nearly 20. I'm 26 in not many days. But, that's information that you didn't need to know.
Old man Shroom over here, like, giving us his life story.
But yeah, early work from Zard, and then Kyle was genuinely going to stall his opponent's Choice Banded Mamoswine out of Earthquakes with a Licky Licky. He was genuinely going to do it. And he would have done it. I think he played riskily with Zard X, like letting it get toxic, but it didn't matter because he knew he had Heal Bell and he knew he'd have like many, many chances to get it off. And he played intelligent with that. He picked his moments to throw Satus out there. He picked his moments to heal up. And he scouted Muck very well. And he was a little bit rewarded for some slight misplays around the Assault Vestalolan Muck. And then he showed fantastic professional editing skills by winding through his battle by about halfway. Nice one, Kyle. Don't think I wasn't going to notice that and mention it, because I did, and I will. And yeah, just overall, a really well-built team, very nicely combating Ditto that he knew his opponent was going to bring. Gimmick sets sometimes work, ladies and gents. They sometimes work.
Yeah, that 1 out of 78 chance really helps when gimmick sets work. We had 2 gimmick sets work this week. That's, like, unheard of.
Uh-huh.
You normally only see stuff like that go down in, like, the final week of leagues, not the first week of leagues.
Yeah, not the first week, but,
guys in TBU are ballsy.
It was a ballsy decision by Kyle, and a good one, throw them off early, get that good start. So, yeah, well played, Kyle.
Let's get into the top 6.
Yeah, moving on, and we have Quill. Next up is Quill and Juventes. He took a loss to
Leo. He unfortunately had to play Leo, so he was kind of doomed from the start.
Yeah, he had to play one of the toughest people early, high-ranked in this league. Now, good team decision. No Manaphy. Good idea. Leo was very well prepped for it, and I think Quill knew that he would be. And, sometimes we talk about this kind of, if you have a massive threat and you know your opponent's going to bring it, sort of bring stuff for it, is it even worth bringing it? And some people are of the opinion of, you know what, there's no point not bringing it if you know it's a threat. And some people are the theory of, well, they're going to prep overly for it, so there's no point bringing it. Bring other stuff that they won't necessarily prep for. Now, unfortunately for Quill, he's playing against Leo, who had just enough prep for it not to be a burden on the rest of his team. So he was in a bit of a bind there. Now, Quill let his Hazard Setter and Hazard Remover go down super early when Scyther and Thunderous were still there. So I wasn't entirely sure about that. He did take advantage of the -1 Necrozma to do things with Mega Chomp. Very nice idea. He did have sub but no SD. And if he had SD, then he would have been in a really good position. As it was, he was just only able to get Necrozma sort of towards revengeable range. And even then, yeah, it did take it down eventually. He had to take risks. He knew he had to take risks. Nasty plotting with Thunderous on what was clearly a hidden Power Ice outspeeding Jolteon. Kind of paid off from there a little bit. And yeah, he had to sort of go for flinches late on versus the Shaman to try and stay in the game. But by then, and even though he did get the flinch when he needed it, it was too little too late, and he was unable to deal with a Swords Dancing Mimikyu at the end game.
That's all she wrote?
Pretty much, yeah. A fairly easy one to go over. Quill, I thought, made some good decisions. I think in the battle, he made a few slightly dodgy or risky decisions. And whilst he was playing well generally throughout, it just wasn't quite enough to get past a very skilled opponent.
And there you have it.
Mm-hmm. So, yes, moving on. Are we in the top 5 now?
Yes, top 5.
I think we are.
We're back to
Top
Jack and Bob.
5.
There's only one more. There are 2 more people in the top 5 that battled each other, so we've gone through almost every match but one.
We have, yeah. And this one is no different because what we have here is Jack, just Weavile, and the Wolverhampton Weaviles. Now, there was... I quite like the idea of the fact that he had Cresselia and he had Luna Dance, but Luna Dance was not on Cresselia, it was on Smeargle, and he Luna Danced into the Cresselia.
That's horrible.
Which was nice. Now, he had a good start, very good start. You know, he starts off with this matchup of Smeargle versus Absol. He knows that Mega Absol could be the lead, so he goes for King Shield instead of Hazards, and gets that -2 on the Mega Absol, which was great. Unfortunately, he then lost Zard 2 turns later because that Mega Absol was packing Rock Slide. So, yeah, that was unfortunate. I think he starts to set up too early. You know, he has this Mind Blank that sees Zard go down, and weirdly, when Zard went down, suddenly he had a huge problem in the form of Chaos's favourite set of the week, that Meganium. It was a problem, and it proved to be a problem. He was trying to set up with it versus it with Zygarde Doggo, and it just wasn't enough. He didn't have the muscle to power through. And he made a bit of an overprediction towards the end with the Crest that allows Toxapex to stay around. And whilst Toxapex was not obviously the biggest threat on his opponent's team, you know, when you make a slight overprediction with something like Toxapex and you allow it to stick around and heal, it's a mental thing. It gets in your head. You're like, oh, I could have taken down this horrible bulky thing, but I've allowed it to stick around and now I have to deal with it later. And it gets in your head. It creeps at you. And I don't think he was able to recover from that. And yeah, it was just a meme and a core that he just unfortunately couldn't get past this time.
I cannot begin to express my upsetness at something as great, like one of the best Pokemon of Gen 7, Zygarde Doggo, being outdone by a Meganium. And yeah. I blame Jack wholeheartedly for this, and am not pleased.
It was unfortunate, but it's a show of how these unexpected things can do work. They can do work. And yeah, Jack was unfortunately on the receiving end of that this week. But yeah, he faced off against a slightly weird team. He showed some really nice ideas, but unfortunately not able to take advantage of it this time.
Yep. So let's move on to Mr. Consistent Disappointment himself in 4th place.
It is indeed Slyro and the Pittsburgh Pyroar.
I wish I could move him down to like 18th place, but we're not allowed to move people that many spots at once. So
no, and also Shardy's in 18th.
I thought that Baby Eye was still in 18th. Hold up. We need to have another meeting about this.
We do. I forget exactly who we've decided to have at 17th, 18th, and below.
Yep.
But yes, anyway, onto this list. Slyro at number 4, taking the 4-0 loss, excuse me, to Ethan. My first note here, entirely in caps, is, oh look, defensive Arcanine, what a shock, never seen that before. Sly, please, variety is the spice of life. I
Yeah,
believe
but I
in
mean,
you
like,
that you can run a different set.
why bother when he can fail just as easily with defensive Arcanine as with any other Arcanine set?
You're not wrong. You're entirely not wrong. Now, looking at the matchup, I genuinely thought that he had a huge win condition in Electabuzz. You know, his opponent has no electric immunity. That is so crucial in league format. You need that electric immunity. So Slice is no electric immunity, specs Electabuzz, and early game, it was just such the perennial threat. He was able to just keep getting these early switches into Electabuzz. In doing so, he was wearing down his opponent's Florges, who was his main switch into the Electabuzz, and that was doing really well. And he was making some great double switches. You know, he looked like, it desperately looked like he knew what he was doing. And then
What a cover that was.
yeah, what a brilliant disguise from Slyro. Then he has his dirt moments, and he knows what he did wrong. You can't go for glare on a Raikou, Sly. You just can't.
You see, Sly, ever since, I believe it was when Gen 6 was instated, the electric-type Pokemon in general has become immune to all forms of paralysis, period. So,
Yeah.
maybe if you, like, played the game instead of taking 3 months to finish Pokemon Moon, you'd understand that.
Oh dear. Yeah, I mean, but you know, we do all have these moments. We do all have dirt moments. You know, Eric has made a career out of having these dirt moments.
I'm pretty sure
So,
Eric has made his entire existence off of having these dirt moments.
I suspect so. Yes. But yeah, Sly. Everyone does have these dirt moments. It happens, and he made a few over predictions here and there. I think with the Lando Eye, he might have done a couple, and then then I think it really was nail in the coffin when he let Electabuzz go down to Ethan's Raikou, because in that moment, Sly's clear biggest threat, and I don't think the biggest threat was the Lando, I don't think it was Lucario, I think it was the Electabuzz, and in that moment, his biggest threat was gone, and that, again, this week seems to be the story of mental blows, and I think that was another one, and yeah, he wasn't able to recover, really. His disgusting Cosmic Power Stored Power Clefable was never actually able to do much.
Oh, thank goodness.
And then, at the end, Ethan showed him how to use a Mega Pinsir.
Never gonna let that go. But did he set up
I'm
Stealth
never,
Rocks with
ever-
the Mega Pinsir, though?
Sorry?
Did he set up Stealth Rocks with the Mega Pinsir, though?
No.
Ah, well
No,
then
he
who's the real champion here? Let's move on to number 3.
Yeah. Well, speaking of, at number 3, we do in fact have Ethan and the Tennessee Dynamos, which I promise I'm going to spell correctly from now on.
Still said, thank goodness I'm the one spelling the T names. This guy spelled Tennessee as Tennessee. Like,
Well,
I
I don't know. I don't live there.
I don't even know how to say it. You know what, to be fair, I could not spell, like, freaking Birmingham to save my life, so.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But also,
try
you know,
and spell
Birmingham is a stupid name and is in Crumpet Land, not America, so.
This is true. You are not wrong. Now, Ethan, some very nice sets. Mega Pinsir running Feint, not Quick Attack, because he knows his opponent has 2 very prevalent E-Speed users. Well played. Nice idea. Very cool Gorgeist set. Always nice to see Sub-Disable used. Combine that with Leech Seed. You know, he was reading Sly's team build very well when he built that. Now, he did mention that Unaware Clefable was a potential thing for Slyra to bring. Now, he didn't, but it could have been. And then the next Pokemon he explained in his team builder was Crocoon, when he just explained about the threat of Unaware Clefable, which I thought was a little bit over dodgy.
Who still brings Crocoon to league matches? I thought that we were beyond this now.
Well, it worked. Well, actually, it didn't work. I don't think it hit the field. Did it hit the field?
I can't remember.
No, I don't think it did.
It has
But
no
either
kills
way,
or deaths on the list, so I assume not.
yeah. But yeah, looking at the game, I think he played well with Florges around Arcanine. I've got written in brackets, hey, Sly, maybe an offensive one would have KO'd. Because I'm still never going to let it go. I'm sorry, Sly, but you knew this when you were getting into this. You knew that I wouldn't let it
This is
go.
what Sly gets for playing Pokemon League. He has like a blood pact signed with Arcanine, so he has to draft it. And like many other people have signed blood pacts with
Mm,
other deities, just saying like as long as Slyro continues his blood pact with Arcanine, I'm gonna ridicule
yeah,
him over it.
pretty much. And as we said with Sly and his plays early game, it did look early game like Ethan was kind of getting played on the double switches. But he then, as we said, he played very well around the Arcanine. He also played very well around the massive threat that is Landorus Incarnate. Um, and then everything is Two-Face in his recording. I wanted to mention that because it does look quite good. Um, he's like got the sort of weird render of of the battle, but at some point it's messed up. So, like he said, everything kind of looks like the Pokemon version of Two-Face from Batman.
Oh,
It's
that's
quite
beautiful.
entertaining.
I need to go
It,
watch
it
that.
is.
That's
It is.
beautiful.
Do. And yeah, he manages to just get into a position where he has Mega Pinsir in the end game, which is just what you want to happen. A bit of a misplay with Mega Pinsir at the end, but it only cost 1 point of differential, and he did recognize that it was a bit of a misplay, so fair point. Yeah, just a really solid game from Ethan. Really good start to his time this season. Not really much more to say. Good stuff.
All right, you've got a minute and a half to go through second and first place, and we've already talked about their battles, so I believe in you, and you can totally do it. So let's get on to number 2.
Okay, number 2 is Paul taking the 2-0 victory over Kelly. That's a choice banded Floatzel. Always nice to see. I was surprised at the lack of a Alolan Marowak because I thought it hits Kelly's team quite hard, but he didn't end up needing it because he got most of his opponent's team spot on, guessing 5 out of 6. Paul, battle intro out of 10. Well done. Always nice to leave your edits in. Did enjoy that. He was off to a bad start, as you know. Instantly, Rachi went down turn 1. I thought he might have been able to see the beat-up lead coming, but didn't matter. Really nice planning with other stuff in the game. Shed Shell Roserade. Now, Kelly had planned to use Gothitelle to trap a Spike stacking Roserade, so Paul brings a Spike stacking Roserade and specifically runs Shed Shell to go against the Gothitelle. This shows how well these two know each other. They've battled a lot, and they're already going at it in this kind of way.
This also goes back to how we talked about Gothitelle, in which we mentioned it can be a good pick, but I specifically, I don't know, I can't remember if you agreed with me very much or not, but it highly depends on the skill level of your opponent just as much as the user. And
Yeah.
Paul showed that he has the skill level to make Gothitelle not as good as you'd want it to be.
Yeah, absolutely. These two just like trying to work off each other, gambling on each other's sets very well. Good stuff from Paul. He did lose momentum around with the Gengar, but he does eventually, as we mentioned, catch Kelly over predicting. Paul, love the Sylveon audio clip. I've said it to you before. I'll say it again. Beautiful stuff. And just a great endgame. You know, Paul knows how to save win cons. Selfless work from the Roserade going down to make sure it could break the balloon on Heatran to allow Scolipede to come in and clean up. So very nice win for Paul, getting his account off to a great start after what seemed to be a shaky start to the battle.
Yep.
Anything to add? Just yep.
No, just yeah. I mean, you said, dude, we gotta go, man. We're going Sanic fast now, so you gotta run through
yeah.
Leo in like 20 seconds. Let's go.
Yeah, Leo's the other one. I'm going to take a bit more than 20, but we'll get there. We'll get there. Leo, the only other one to have not changed position. 4 out of 6 correct predictions. Always expect the Scyther, Leo. As a user of Scyther, always expect the Scyther. It didn't actually do any work against him, so it was
And then
fine.
dodge Stone Edge.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what you do. Now, this shows the level that Leo's at. Such specific EV prep. It's always nice to see. His Shaman was prepped for a Garchomp running just enough HP to allow that Garchomp to speed creep a non-speed invested Shaman. He was prepared for that exact situation, which I love to see. And then he plays well around the Scyther that he wasn't expecting with Necrozma, who is gross. He was really surprised that he wasn't able to break subs on Garchomp, but, you know, he forgot about the parting shot and he put an edit in his video saying that he realizes that now, so fair enough, absolutely fair enough. And I get that he wanted to keep Shaman healthy, but I feel like if he thought that Mega Garchomp was bulkier, I thought he might have just wanted to go into it on the telegraphed EQ, because it was built for that Garchomp, but I do get why he didn't do it, so in the end it worked out well for him. The only one thing I didn't like about the video was the whole situation with Shaman getting flinched by Air Slash and Leo said that he was rewarded for his misplay. I have to disagree with you there, Leo, and I do respect the hell out of you for all you've done in Pokemon competitive battling. I have to disagree. I think it was his only play. Flamethrower, the KO from that range was shaky at best, and he couldn't risk the synthesis that the Shaman was going for. So it's frustrating. I get it, because it was the flinch at such an inopportune moment. I don't think it was a misplay, but whether or not it was, Leo, once again, this is the classic example of saving your win con until the perfect moment. He could afford to set up 2 Swords Dance, and he wasn't getting greedy with it just to guarantee his KOs when he got them. Saves his win condition. Great late game sweep by Mimikyu. Leo, very deservingly, maintains his #1 spot on the power rankings.
I have a feeling we're going to be saying that a lot in these coming weeks.
I feel like we might. It's going to take something special to knock him off, but we'll see if anyone can do it.
Well, anyways, we actually managed to keep this video like under 50 minutes. I didn't think we'd do it.
Wow, we actually did it?
Yeah, we're just a little... I wanted to try and end at 45, but you refused to spend like 20 seconds on Leo, so now we're like at 46 minutes.
But I mean, I think that is that the first time in 3 seasons we've managed that?
This is the 3rd season I've been doing this with you? Yes.
Yeah, I think it is. Go us. We're awesome.
Man, we are amazing. So let's stop talking gibberish before we get over 50 minutes.
Yes, absolutely. So I'll sign us off by saying thank you all very much for watching, Battle Union fans. We do hope you've enjoyed. Remember, let us know what you think of our list in the comment section, and put your own list in the comment section. We love hearing your thoughts. Coaches, we love to hear your thoughts on what we said as well. So yeah, let us know what you think. Keep your eyes peeled on the Battle Union channel for various other analytical videos that will be going up throughout the week. There's already been a few. There's probably more coming. Keep your eyes peeled for that. And all the games on our coaches' channels, which will probably be linked in the description down below. So yeah, with that, Chaos, anything to add as we sign off incredibly rapidly?
Oh yeah, super shout out to Shroom for this week for taking care of the majority of knowing the battles. I was swamped with schoolwork and didn't get to watch hardly anything. So really, you did really well, Shroom. Thank you.
Thanks, man.
Thanks for doing as well as you did. But anyways, you pretty much covered it all. Check out links and all that. Thanks for watching. Let us know what you thought about the matches and where you would be putting people and whatnot. And we will see you for the Week 2 Power Rankings next week.
Yes, we shall. Until that time, though, laters.
Farewell.